Well, hi again, Beaver Nation, and welcome to part 3 of our ongoing series with Director of Athletics Todd Stansbury on a gorgeous day coming to you from Goss Stadium at Coleman Field. Todd, great to see you again.
Yeah, good to be here.
And what a beautiful place.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. And it's only 80 today.
It's a great time to be a Beaver in Beaver Nation, and certainly being in this ballpark, Todd, brings a lot of memories about what it means to be at Oregon State. And I've got it just on a personal level. I remember so well 2007 when we were all together down in Charlottesville at the Charlottesville Regional. You had gone back representing Oregon State Athletics from an administrative standpoint back there. And that run that Pat Casey's team went on there is one of the special things I think any of us have ever experienced.
Yeah, I mean, that year we were probably one of the last teams to make the tournament. And I just remember we were seated, I think, third in that regional. And we were paired up with the #1 seed, which was Vandy. Vandy loses, and Michigan, which wins their regional, can't host. And I just remember on Sunday night calling John Chaney and saying, hey, you better put those bleachers back up because we're coming home.
We were, and you said, I remember as we were sort of celebrating the Charlottesville regional win and that whole thing, the momentum kind of built. We didn't quite know when we went back there how this might fall into place. But Todd said, it's like Lazarus coming back from the dead to be coming back home to a super regional.
Yeah, incredible. And that was an incredible run. You know, the Michigan game, if I remember, the final game was a one-run game. I mean, it was so tight, everything. And the amazing thing is that team, the team before, I think, probably played as many games as possible to win a College World Series. That team played as few games possible to win a College World Series. Just an incredible run.
It really was, and that team only trailed for one inning in Omaha, won the games by biggest margin. So the two championship teams, 06, 07, I know that they mean a lot to us who experienced it. But Todd, from a university standpoint, and your sense then and even now, how those championships resonate, what it meant to Oregon State University in the big picture. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think it shows what we're capable of. If you think that, of all the sports, to kind of break out and win a national championship, you think baseball, the Northwest, because of the weather, obviously, you would not probably pick that sport, but it shows that you got the right coach who recruits the right players, and you can make it happen. And I think that Pat Casey led the way that shows that regardless of sport here, we have an opportunity to win a national championship.
And you mentioned Pat Casey, and we've touched on this already in some of the other parts of this series that we're doing, but the importance of people and the right fit and the right kind of people at the right time. Pat certainly exemplifies that, but what about that, Todd, how important that is in your vision when you have opportunity to hire coaches and so on here, how important that is, finding the right fit like Pat Casey,
right,
who fits your philosophy and approach to what's possible here.
I think it's incredibly important that fit is everything, and I think the thing that you look for is a coach that, one, knows who he or she is, and also recognizes what we are. What is Oregon State? What are our assets? Why is this place a special place? What kind of player will come here and thrive here? And I think those are the important things. And so I look at, as I've hired coaches, I really look at Pat Casey as really the model, and now Scott Rueck, same thing. He recognizes what we have to offer here. He's able to identify talent that he knows will work here, will thrive here. And across the board, obviously Tanya Chaplin's done it year after year after year. So I think that in looking at coaches, fit is so incredibly important, and not every successful coach will fit every program.
Now, what's your sense early? Coach Tinkle last year, Wayne Tinkle, certainly proved that the fit appears to be just right. He's perfect for Corvallis. His success level on the court was off the charts better than the expectations were. What's your early sense in getting to work with Wayne and be around him a little bit in these early days, and Gary Anderson, about the fit and the fit for the culture at Oregon State?
Well, I think those are two really exciting hires. Just my interaction with Wayne. I can't think of a person, a men's basketball coach, better suited for this place than Wayne. Not only is it a great fit, he recognizes it's a great fit. He wants to be here. His family wants to be here. And I think that's part of it. You know, it's not a place that you're looking over its shoulder for the next. You know, it's just a launching pad. And I think Gary has proven that, hey, you know what? This is what he was looking for. This is a kind of community and program that he feels comfortable in. I think his move, obviously, from Wisconsin to Oregon State is a move that many thought, you know, was interesting. But when you hear him and what his priorities are, it makes perfect sense.
And Todd, what was your own reaction during that whole time period? First of all, just Mike Riley leaving to go to Lincoln, and then a few days later, Gary Anderson coming here on the heels of the victory through Valley, which we'll talk more about. The announcement 2 days later, an equally big, if not bigger, announcement about who's going to be the program through that, the head coach of the program through that time. As you were down in Orlando and all of this was taking shape, what were some of your early thoughts? Mike leaving, Gary coming.
Well, I'll never forget hearing about Mike, because we were playing Thursday night at East Carolina, and so you have all day kind of to hang around. I was in my hotel room doing work and had ESPN on, and the ticker goes across, Mike Riley going to Nebraska. Like, wow, you know, and you know, and so your first thought is, because he was another coach I thought that just fit so incredibly well here for obvious reasons, and kind of found, you know, I mean, when I had left, at that time, Oregon State had the third winningest, was the third winningest football program in the Pac-10 at that time over the last decade, and so he had found success, and so, you know, your first thing is, how are you going to replace a guy like that? And then a couple days later, I don't know, a week later, whenever it happened, you know, Gary is named. I was like, wow. First thing I did was I called Bob and I just said, congratulations, you hit a home run.
And now we're moving towards the beginnings of all of that said, wins and losses, vitally important. It's the scoreboard. We have the scoreboard here in the background at beautiful Goss Stadium at Coleman Field. Scoreboard matters, and so wins and losses, all of those things in the building of a philosophy, education, building young men and women of character and excellence. Everybody, you know, are here. You're committed to that, but you're also committed to what happens on the scoreboard. So take us through, Todd, a little bit. You're thinking about the balance. Sure. That scoreboard matters. Wins and losses matter in the overall vision of what you're doing at Oregon State.
Sure, I think if you know, you're developing leaders, you gotta make sure that they recognize that keeping score counts. And I like to say there are two places left in America that keep score, and one is athletics and the other one is real life. And so winning is important, and it's important not only for the sake of winning, but from an educational standpoint, that if we're developing the leaders of tomorrow that will lead their communities and lead this nation, then they need to know that score counts and winning is important.
Well, Todd, and I appreciate your answer on that, because we're sitting atop, we're here at Banners at Goss Stadium at Coleman Field. In the background, there's the beautiful Omaha room, and that did not exist at the time we were celebrating that rising back like Lazarus in Charlottesville. Yeah. But the Omaha room came about because of 3 straight trips to Omaha, back-to-back national championships. So what is that Omaha room emblematic of, sitting on top of the Jacoby Ellsbury clubhouse locker room? What does that all mean to you, being back here and seeing these things?
Well, I think it's amazing how far we've come in such a short period of time, and it's also amazing how time flies. I mean, I remember, you know, Jacoby was a kid, You know, now we're sitting over, you know, a project that he funded. And just when you think of all the players on those 3 teams, Mitch Canham and Darwin and you know, Andy Jenkins, who's now on the coaching staff here. I mean, just what an incredible bunch of young men that have gone on to just be incredible leaders and represent this institution the way you would hope they would.
And the facility development has been a huge part of it. We will close this portion of the series, part 3, on a note, because our final series will be, appropriately enough, at Reser Stadium. We'll talk about the Victory Through Valley project, but certainly the great victories that Pat Casey and the baseball program have experienced. We celebrate here with the Omaha Room above Jacoby. The Darwin Barney Alumni Players Lounge is also here. So we've seen the explosion right here in this setting that exemplifies the vision that Todd Stansbury has been a big part of fulfilling and will continue to do so. Todd, thanks for talking to us about these great things, and next time we'll be together at Reser Stadium. Thanks for joining us here on OSUBeavers.com. So long, everybody.